I sought ayahuasca in the beginning was because I was looking for some relief from my spiritual experiences. I began around 2011. I was diagnosed with schizophrenia,
Wow.
and um, it was a tough go. It still is. However, I manage it quite well, and not everybody knows this about me. I don't just share it often, but we're doing a speaker meeting here, and I open, honest, and real with you, and I have integrity within myself. I feel proud to share my personal experience because I know others out there are having difficulty, and so I was seeking shaman because I heard that well, I wasn't ready for medication at that point in my life, and I was seeking alternative sources of relief. So
Mhm.
I came across. I rented a house from an individual and a nice man, and he told me that he went to um, Peru and he experienced ayahuasca from a shaman, and that he said it was powerful and that it was life changing, and that it really brought about shifts in him that. He was desiring. So that gave me hope.
Mm.
And having the tough difficulty of hearing voices, um, I was seeking anything that I could to find relief in my experience. So I set on the journey to Peru. I went there 4 times. And on
Mm.
the fourth visit, I went to a tour called Blue Morpho. And there we gathered at a hotel, and we took a bus to um, a boat, and then we went on a boat down the Amazon, and they
Wow.
had like, yeah, it was set up. It was really clever. It was really cool, and we prepared the ayahuasca together, and um, their speakers were really polite and informative, and they shared about how the process would unfold, and really my first try uh, in the tent, and it was like a big canopy over us, and it
Okay.
surrounded us in a circle, and they had beds where everybody could lay down, and they only gave us a little bit the first night. It was like just to try it, and I went in with a pretty tough mood because my schizophrenia was the voices were tormenting, abrasive, abusive, and so I kind of just sat there, and they kind of just pestered me the whole time, and so I didn't really participate, and we didn't drink that much, but I went into a with a really, really good attitude next time around. It was like the next day, and
Mm.
I was sitting beside a girl who was attractive, and I'm a man, and I was happy. I was elated. My emotions were up, and I was being playful and joking and having fun,
Mhm.
and I had the best time of my life.
Really?
I was laughing. They gave me an ovation for um, Spirit was laughing through me like no other. It was incredible laughter for about 10, 15 minutes, maybe even longer. I just really psyched out, and I I seen like obviously the imagery looks different because we were in the shadows that were being cast in this space at nighttime. The girl's face, it kind of looked like she was wooden when I
Mm.
looked up at her because they go around and they're playing their music and the shaman's singing, and some people are reacting differently. Some people were throwing up, some people because they have showers on the outside, and some people it's almost like you're intoxicated to some
Yeah.
extent. And
Mm.
I was seeing vivid images of patterns and shapes,
Mhm.
and it carried on. And I had a great show, got an ovation. Everybody was proud, and I laughed harder than I've ever laughed in my entire life, and thought it was just the best because I went in with a positive attitude, and it really thrilled me. I really had a good time. I give you a little bit of background information. Through the lens of the doctors, they see my illness as uh, hearing voices. So they try to treat those symptoms with medication.
Mhm.
And I can tell you, it's given me control over my emotions, but the symptoms never changed. I
Mhm.
see it differently because I saw all kinds of explanations through Doreen Virtue, who talks about angelic realms, and
Mhm.
William Linville. He's a spiritual healer he's in Chattanooga right now, and I sought out different people to different books, Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and so I was really in depth in with the literature and looking for solutions. And so not only do I hear the voices, but I communicate with them, and that we have dialogue back and forth, and we talk. And one of them I call Birch. Uh, and he comes out and he's playful and he has different voices, and we share in communication. And sometimes it's uplifting and it's fun and it's enjoyable, and other times some of it's not so pretty. So it's like the good, the bad, and the ugly all combined in one. But the medication from I'm on Abilify right now. It's for to balance the mood, and I have great control over my emotions. I was having so much difficulty where I was going to rage, and it was very difficult for me to live my life when I was overreacting to everything. I had a lot of deep resentment. I felt um, upset because I had a belief in God growing up, being Christian and
Mhm.
Catholic, and so I blamed God for all the bad things that happened to me. Although I haven't been given the easiest go, it's been really tough. Um,
Joe, I'm curious. So you mentioned that you went to the was it the same location in Peru that you did the four different times?
Iquitos was one time, but there was a different shaman there, different healers, Don Luciano, and there was a few Dons of the town where they had a little celebration in the town, a little party that night, and they would all talk about the shaman, and they were
Okay.
dancing. And no, I went to two different locations. The Blue Morpho tour, that's where I
Okay.
really got a heavy dose of it, where
Hmm.
I had the second night was extraordinary.
Wow.
It was
So
incredible.
so would you say in any of these circumstances of the experimentation and working with the ayahuasca or the shamans, like, did you get any additional insights into the causation of the voices? Like, did you get any kind of in additional understanding as to what the nature of that really is for you?
I learned how important it is with these exceptional abilities or disabilities to mood. The
Hmm.
power of me being positive and being in a good space, because when I carried that into the ceremony, I had the most exquisite time ever. It was awesome by far. And
Wow.
um, so it showed me how the power of emotion, if I could carry that into my life today, that was really what played out for me in that circumstance, was my positive emotion coming into it. So when
Mm.
I can reach those peaks and those heightened sensitivity at times of joy and peace and inner harmony with whatever's going on, even though it's quite challenging and difficult, I have the best of times in my life today.
That's awesome. So would you
Yeah,
say that it's sort of made you more proactive and intentional about setting your own frequency, your own mood space then?
absolutely. I'm big on getting into joy. I study the law of
Mm.
attraction from Abraham Hicks and
Yeah.
Esther, who wrote the books. Very powerful teachings. When I was going through my darkest hours, I would practice. My favorite process was the one where you would process the emotion from wherever it would be anger, statement by statement, feeling by healing, to the next better feeling, and that would bring me to joy. So I've really recovered. I'm also a proud member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I work a spiritual program. The 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous are present in my life, and I've been able to live resentment free for a long time when I cleaned
Wow.
house. And yeah,
Yeah. That's awesome. So do
So,
you consider this now? Go ahead, Rian. Go ahead.
no, it's fine. I think it's a different section, so you can go ahead.
I was curious, like, do you have a desire to continue to integrate this, like ayahuasca, as an ongoing sort of therapeutic means of healing in your life?
I think as an experience, it was profound and it was energetic and it was fun. And I probably had the bit one a blast. And I don't know if I would continue on, just because when I started using cocaine, it became one was too many, a thousand was never enough. So you've heard the
Mhm.
expression in the rooms of
Yeah.
CA and NA, and so I found it difficult to stop. And
Hmm.
so I'm on a path of recovery. I just left treatment center September 6th this year. I was there for 35 days in De Novo,
Okay.
and I went there because me and my two friends founded a not for profit organization, and we're buying a treatment center in Sunridge off the board of De Novo.
Wow.
And I really wanted to clean up my act so I could assist others with their own journeys. And
Mm,
so I don't know if I would continue to use it just because as my value, I've chosen total abstinence in my life to be
mm,
a powerful technique for me to give back to others what's so freely been given to me in the
hmm.
sense of recovery. So I think I've been there, did that, had a blast. It was fun. I did have, interestingly enough, 2 years of effective sobriety when I came back
Yeah.
from that experience from the ayahuasca. Although that was
I've heard that's a rather common effect, where folks will come back and say like literally all of their addictions are just gone, which is fascinating.
That's
yeah
fascinating, actually.
Mm,
yeah that was I found it still interesting today. I'm still open to insight on that one.
mm,
Um, But nonetheless, having the exceptional ability of dealing with the disability has been proven to be difficult. So even though it was 2 years clean, uh, I was going through challenge after challenge, and was having a hard time maintaining my own just normal things you do, day to day life things. So when I got on the medication, it really gave me control and the power to react sanely and normally to life
mm.
and on life's terms without the overreaction. So I'm on a steady keel and I'm doing good things and very powerful now. And it was such a blessing to meet Reon because he's blessed in psychology and mental health and addiction. And
Yeah.
I'm becoming a counselor as well, up and coming. So we have a lot in common and we read the
Yeah,
same literature and stuff.
Yeah.
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 It's
That's
like
amazing.
we literally have a lot in common, and it was a coincidence meeting him, and
Yeah.
he's like he has suffered so much in his past life, and now he wants to give back to the society, right? By by opening the rehabilitation center, and it's very fascinating for me. Coming to one more question is that do you think ayahuasca actually helped you, with the recovery and also the AA program as well?
I'm not sure. There's different beliefs between AA and some believe a drug is a drug is a drug, and the abstinence is part of the program. If you would ask some old timers in Alcoholics Anonymous, they would say they would advise against it. But from my own experience, what I went through, I'm not entirely sure. I just know I had a period of abstinence for a couple of years after the um, after the
Ayahuasca.
ayahuasca experience. So um, I'm still learning and growing. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, it
What
was
is
a
the
profound experience, though.
what was the interval of time between your four trips?
My 4 trips, it was in a period of, I think, 5 years.
Hmm.
I went
Okay.
there. I'd have to go back and scroll through the dates and my pictures and look at the logs. It's been some time. I haven't looked back at it at the dates and the time of vacation. My memory isn't served me as well as it could. Um, but they were. It was within a 5 year span.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm very like not having used ayahuasca at all before. I've heard some folks say like they do it one
Same.
time and kind of that's enough for them and they don't have any other desire. And then I've heard folks talk about doing it like dozens and dozens and dozens of times. So I'm really interested to understand kind of what is it that it doesn't seem to be like a normal drug, like it seems there's some sort of purpose or pattern to the interval between and like how often or how much that an individual needs exposure to that particular substance. Can you talk on that at all?
Maybe a little bit. I'll try and touch on your question. I can just say from a perspective of using cocaine, um, it's a very addictive substance, and
Mm,
ayahuasca, I didn't find it to be addictive, but I
mm,
found it to be. There was at some point I was looking for I guess they call them hallucinations. The DMT as is reacting with the mind
hmm.
and the chemicals in the body. The way
Yeah.
they explain it is they talking about you're seeing the almost like the life of the plants or
Hmm.
the spirit of the nature of the plants that you're taking. and
Yeah.
that's why you're seeing those forms and those patterns. And from a medical perspective, I believe they would call it hallucinations. However, I didn't see it being as addictive, so I don't know if there's any relevance to maybe the people just enjoyed it and want to try it again and get more experience
Mm.
with it. They're
Uh,
seeking more data on the topic. I didn't see it as something where when I ingested it was like I couldn't control myself and I needed
mm.
more.
Okay.
Um,
And I've heard some talk about it, and I think you kind of touched on it a little bit too. Some talk about the plant as sort of like um, personified, like it represents Mother Earth or a motherly type spirit. Did you have any sort of interaction with the plant or the drug itself in a way that you understood it as a sort of its own consciousness in some way?
I kind of think so. It was interesting. The patterns are they were just shapes and they were coming and
Like
uh,
sacred geometry.
Mm,
yeah, some people get have really vivid, really intellectual, broad experiences where they see things that are meaningful to them, and the shaman can elaborate on what these visions mean or what it means to the shaman, or walk them through these imageries and say, "Oh, this is what this is meaning. This is what this is saying." I never went that in depth with my own, but I was tuned
mm.
into a lot of fun and a lot of joy and there's a lot of happiness. It was a pretty energetic experience. It was pretty fun.
Would you say that that effect, that sort of like high level of state of being, stayed with you for a long period after the ceremony?
I don't know if it's directly in relationship to uh, the ayahuasca. Maybe it brought it out of me, and
Mm,
I was in tune with the same consciousness or the same beings that continually challenge me, poke and prod at me, and uplift me and enlighten me at times. Can be the lightest of the lightest and the dark of the dark, and God's really set forth a path of me and challenge.
mm.
It's hard sometimes, but I believe that I can reach those states of consciousness just laughing, playing, and being joyful with my light team.
Wow, that's fascinating. I think what you are tapped into is new abilities, new human abilities that most or all of us potentially are going to start to develop and grow into. And the people that are taking the souls that are taking on the challenge of being the first at the trough, if you will, with these things are the most resilient, the toughest of the tough, the most dynamic and the most connected to source, like you have to be in order to be able to perceive a greater range of existence than what is accepted in the collective. So I know it's tough. Like I can just hear it in your emotion and your voice,
Yeah.
and when you reflect on the experiences that you've been through. But I hope that in some way you can also maybe see and perceive that this is a gift. It may be a hard one to accept and a hard one to deal with sometimes, but you are part of the first wave, I think, of folks that are growing the human awareness in new and different ways, my friend. Like it's
I read it somewhere that God gives uh, the strongest problem to his strongest soldier.
yeah.
So I mean, like going through this, I can't even imagine like how hard it must be for you. Like I can only like listen to it and like empathize with like let's say 50%. But yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and it's so encouraging to hear that even in the midst of kind of still dealing with these challenges, you are seeking to establish a center to help others to reach out and share your lessons and your energy and devote your time and focus to helping other people get through these difficulties. Like that in itself says everything about the strength of who you are and the strength of your soul. So it's very inspiring to hear that there are people out there that
Mhm.
have been through hell and they come out of it and go, I want to help others walk through that, whatever that is. If they need help, I'm going to be there. It's beautiful, dude. Like really, really cool. So this is to
Yeah.
me is a lot broader and a lot more encompassing than I know we're kind of talking about your ayahuasca journey, and I do see that as a very important part of your healing path, and I think it's going to continue to grow and evolve in our, especially our Western society that has not accepted these earth-based tools as effective means of getting in touch with who we are and understanding ourselves as individuals or as humans better. But that's what they are, and you're serving as one source of light to show that, to prove people like there are better ways to deal with
Yeah.
what we term illness and disability. And like we have, I think we have mischaracterized so much about the human mind and about personality and psychology. And people that are now coming around and willing to speak and be vulnerable and tell the truth about what they've gone through and what they've dealt with are the ones that are going to expose the truth about what we really are, what we're connected to, what we're made of, where we come from. Like, that's what I
And
see when I hear people
yeah.
like you talking about their stories. Is you are a light, brother. You are a light.
Thank you, brother. It means a lot to me to hear you speak.
And
Very.
I feel like listening to you, I think a lot of people would be open to trying, like, let's say psychedelics, or let's say psychedelic assisted therapy and so on. And even like seeing you and how A is like an in-depth, like it's an in-depth program. It has like really interesting psychological strategies and tools that can help you with your dealing with your emotion, cope with your esteem and so on. And you did that, and you actually came out from the ayahuasca experience, and it actually helped you a lot. And a lot of people who are going through the same things, they can listen to you, and it will really create awareness that there is hope, right? There is still hope.
Absolutely. That's what it was about for me, was hope.
When you were in those ceremonies, can you talk a little bit about sort of what the shaman's role is, other than just giving you the drink? Like, what else does the shaman do to oversee or assist the folks going through that process?
There's like a focal point as the center of attention, and they're offering their blessings and their knowledge and wisdom as they performed many ceremonies, and so they have experience, and their sources point through the wisdom through them as well as they're leading the group, and they sing and they do their chants, and they're there to direct the others who are assisting with the many that were gathered in within that canopy, and offering guidance and suggestions, and there for comfort and peace of mind. Um,
Mm,
they know how to make the extract the from the barks and the roots and the plants, and they know how to make it. So they're there during the preparation stages. We prepared it as a group as well.
mm,
So really, their information is probably ancient, and
yeah.
um, uh, yeah,
I don't know a whole lot about shamanism, but I understand that it's a sort of a lifelong pursuit, and they may spend 20, 30, 40 years just learning all the different processes and practices. I think ultimately the way I see it is they are masters of energetic control, and they're able to set an environment. Like, they are there to hold space, if you will, like a very strong I guess in the medical terms, like a psychiatrist would be there to hold space for us to download our traumas and talk about our lives and that kind of thing. Like, but I see the shaman as doing that on far more than just this physical level. Like, they're understanding the multidimensionality of our soul, and probably reaching into realms that we don't even yet know exist. So um,
I mean,
a lot of
yeah,
a lot of research and understanding to be done for our American and Canadian, our Western minds to really understand all that, how all
Yeah,
that
and I
works.
think EPRC, like the Emergent Phenomena Research
Mm,
Consortium, they are doing really well of bringing, like psychedelics and how it can be used for therapy right
mm,
now. And in some cases, in like let's say Mexico, it's been uh, it's been used to treat depressions like
yeah.
5-MeO DMT. And I feel we are getting introduced to this culture more and more and more, and we are creating this awareness. And science is still, trying to find out like what it is, right? because when you take an ayahuasca experience, it's all subjective. You can't share
Mm-hmm.
it. Like even if Joseph like tries to explain it, it's all his implicit understanding. We can't see what he's seeing, right? We
Mm-hmm.
can't experience what he is experiencing in that ayahuasca experience, the feeling he felt when he took it, the joy he felt. We can't experience it, and it can't be measured. It's very difficult to measure it. And I feel that's the reason why a lot of people are not open to the idea of, psychedelics and how it can radically transform things. Like I haven't tried psychedelics yet, but I'm open to the idea of trying it.
Joe, did you go into either the first or any of those ceremonies with any specific intention, like something that you wanted to understand or to achieve coming out of it?
Uh, it was told to me that I was open to these realms of existence, and that's why I was hearing voices. So it was presented to me that the shaman would seal, I think it was called an arcan or some sort of seal on the top of the crown of my head, where
Mm,
uh, it was my strong belief that I would come back and that I would be changed from it. And I thought my intention was to go there and to have that happen. And it didn't happen just like that. But what happened is I kept growing and expanding and being more, you said, with like the warrior in me, just the fight in me would never, as much as I felt like not carrying on at some point,
mm,
sometimes. Um, my strength grew, my charisma grew. They asked me when treatment, what comes to mind when you think of somebody who is experiencing schizophrenia, and I said strength, wisdom, charisma,
mm,
personal power, because nobody ever heard that before. I was the first
mm.
one to bring that because everybody said, "Oh, crazy" or
Yeah,
psychotic, or and I'm like, no, I'm not any of those things. I'm just a normal person having these experiences, and
yeah.
um, that's what the personal power that came from all of this.
Are you familiar with the term psychopomp?
No, I never heard that.
So this is it's a relatively new one to me as well, but it's I guess what the indigenous cultures would use to describe a embodied soul that is of such a nature of power and connectivity that they attract disembodied souls that are still choosing to remain attached to this material world because of whatever attachments and desires and affiliations they had during their embodiment. They
I see.
don't know that they have the ability to fully detach from the physical experience, and so they, we live in a universe of free will, and we all have choice. And if one of those choices is to remain stagnant between zones, then we get to experience that choice, even if it's harsh and painful and confusing and disconnected. So the psychopomp essentially is the embodied aspect of that connection that develops the ability to relate to those who are making the choice to stay connected here, and helps introduce them to the idea that they can detach and move on to whatever their next stage of soul experience is. So
That's
I'm
very
I'm
interesting.
not necessarily suggesting that's what you are or what your role would be, but I think it's quite possible that something like that is on the horizon for people that have the level of attunement and understanding like you're talking about. It's not craziness, it's not insanity. It's, dude, you're a gifted freaking soul, and it's just a matter of growing into what the right roles and the right calling are for those talents and those gifts that you have.
For me, it's the way of love.
Mm,
I've that's the way it is to be in harmony with myself and others. I went through so much experience with resentment. 12 steps talk about for the alcoholic, resentment is to die. And they were so severe in my life, just the thoughts I was thinking, the feelings I was having, and the repetition of them, they would keep coming up. And I've been able to clean house. And when I mean by clean house, I've been able to reach for the feeling by feeling to new, better perception. So I'm seeing through the eyes of my source on a
mm,
more consistent basis on all these relevant things that happened to me. So I'm not reacting. I respond differently to life today.
Mm, awesome. Are you familiar with the Seth material? Talking about reading and
That
research.
speaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Esther was introduced to her guide through Seth. I
Okay.
believe when she was originally started channeling Abraham,
Hmm.
she was introduced. They told her she would have uh, uh, her guy would be introduced to her through an experience, and that's what happened. So I
Wow.
remember I'm a big
Yeah.
fan
For
of Esther and
That's cool.
Eckhart. Yeah,
Yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah, the couple of times during this conversation, things that you've said have keyed my mind into like you're reflecting a lot of those same principles and ideas that are found in that material. So it's
absolutely.
yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, you can just someone can sit and listen to your story and literally see the evolution of a soul growing into enlightenment over the course of just a period of years. Like it's fascinating to meet people that I've heard some talk about the fact that the vast majority of us come to this planet and make very little um, progress from a soul's perspective during a single incarnation, right? And then there are some that come here and say, "Pummel me! I want to learn the hardest lessons, and I want to go through it, and I want to grow, like grow, grow, grow. I came here to evolve." And I can't help but think like those like yourself that you're talking about going through difficult challenges and hard experiences, like that's what it's all about, man.
It's
You're,
just like self mastery. Totally,
yeah.
it feels like
Yeah.
the master of my life and my emotions, and being just aware of how I'm feeling at any given moment, and being aware of the all the intrusions and the abrasiveness and the confusion that's presenting, but remaining clear and upbeat, and I'm able to facilitate that for others. I don't react the same way as I used to, and I can be there for others who are going through moods or changes and uplift them into different spaces and places that are better feeling for them and
Mm,
myself, because it's I was just yesterday I was in the car and I said, guys, what's going on? What happened to the mood? They're like, oh, somebody said this to us. But I have
mm,
such a keen awareness of the moment and people's their feeling basis in the moment. I was able to just tune in and be like, you know, what's wrong, guys? What happened? But I think that's normal. We all have that sense of sensitivity to our surroundings, and people maybe some more than others. And I
mm,
think when you said their disabilities are our abilities, I think they're our greatest gifts and they're our
yeah.
best teachers.
You talked a little bit about energetic sensitivity and environment. Do you feel like either the ayahuasca experience or any aspect of your experience over the last decade has changed that sensitivity for you? Do you feel like that has become uh, I don't know how to describe it, but do you feel that that's changed over the last decade or
You
so?
know, something happened one day. Something happened while I was performing quantum touch. I do energy work with
Okay,
quantum touch, founded by
cool.
Richard Gordon, and
Mm,
Reiki. I have my Reiki 1 and 2,
Reiki. Yeah.
mm,
and I was doing something where I was doing like this fire breath where you breathe in and out really quickly,
mm,
and I felt energy shoot up the top of my head, and then um, I started crying, and it was just a profound experience. I didn't know what happened, but all hell broke loose after that. I was seeing things, hearing things. Things were going wild in my life. It was just like
mm.
something opened me up into something. Some people would call it a Kundalini energy or a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kundalini
Kundalini
experience.
experience.
I, based on what I've heard or what I've read, that's what happened to me.
Mm,
Um, do I have the knowledge of knowing of pure infinite wisdom? Some would say at some points in some places and times, but sometimes it could be classified as that, and other times it's just wit and humor coming through for me.
mm,
But it was pretty profound, and that's when things really opened up. So it's been
yeah.
the whole evolution of experience after experience with different places, people, and things that have really broadened my perspective and given me such a heartfelt passion for life.
That's so interesting. I've done a little bit. I've done the Reiki training as well, and I tried working with it for several months, and then realized, kind of like what you're saying, that the effects, I guess, I don't know exactly what was causing it, but something about the effect of doing that healing for others created a lot of conflict and difficulty and just extreme discomfort from on an
I,
energetic level
I think
inside me.
it's like I need to add in because it's like I never done Reiki to
Hmm.
others, but it's like when I do something creative work, let's say like digital painting or like doing some creative or creating something, and that's what Reiki really is, right? You are healing
Hmm.
someone, you're creating something, and that causes this imbalance in you. Like you feel like you created something and then you feel this hollowness in you and this
Hmm.
chaos in you, and you need to go through that in order to then recharge your creativity, right?
Hmm.
Is
So you
that the
think
same
those
thing?
maybe I'm not really sure. Like I couldn't necessarily identify, like Joe was saying, I couldn't necessarily identify the causation. And it was so new and uncomfortable for me. The only thing I knew to do was step back from doing anything with that healing energy. I took it to mean I was not ready to use that capability, whatever it is, and at that point in my life. So, but I like what you're saying. There's a good possibility you're right that I think the way I understand it is Reiki and other forms of sort of tapping into that divine energy is a form of channeling. It's a sort of physically manifested form of channeling, and you are agreeing to be a conduit for what is infinitely more powerful energy than just what it takes to run this physical body. But in that choice, if you have distortions and imbalances within you, that it's like putting the current from a nuclear reactor through a small wire. Like it's at some point it's gonna singe and fry that wire if you keep it running through long enough.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but Joe, it's again incredible that again, as you're going through all these types of very difficult experiences, you're also still pursuing knowledge and capabilities that help others. You're not just trying to fix and balance yourself. You're trying to find ways to share and to give. I think that is what creation is.
Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. I'm an
Mm,
advocate for mental health, and I think I will lead this generation and my generation and those to come, younger people that are going through the beginning stages of mental health issues. I can bring clarity, wisdom, knowledge, and experience to help assist where they may be feeling like this is too much, or I can't carry on, or um, I don't know how to handle this. I believe that my strength will supersede those feelings, and I know how to empower them. I know how
Yeah.
to uplift those emotions. I think that's the key player for me, from my experience, is being able to move from emotion to emotion and remain at that energetic level that feels really really good.
mm.
And
For
I
for
think I believe in you, really, Joe. Like you started a rehabilitation center, right? And you are taking like this big initiative. Like a lot of people can't really take it, like even if they think about it. And it's very like inspiring to me.
Thank you so much. The vision has been given. It's I see the path. I see it clearly. I see where I'm headed, and the people with me are one of my best friends, Tom Cisco's. He's in recovery as well, and he's reaching for the stars. And we all aim to uplift and to help others. It's our prime purpose is to just carry a message of solitude and strength and hope for others, and alleviate some of the struggles on the planet.
Joe, so Ria and I are hoping to make this a regular thing and publish this. And so if any listeners or viewers down the road find that this and are inspired by your message, is there some way they can find your center or reach out to you? Is there some way that they
Absolutely.
can find you online?
Sure. Sorry to interrupt you. I do that a lot, but well-meaning. So we're looking at. I'm a local 46 plumber and steam fitter, and Dave Griffiths from the board of the local 46. His father founded the De Novo Treatment Center and put it into action. It's in Huntsville, and
Hmm.
they own a property in sunny Sunridge, and that building's still owned by them, and it's up for sale, and it will house about 20 to 25 people, and we're looking at
Hmm.
doing like a pre-treatment, perhaps a detox, um, and post-treatment. So when they leave de novo or other treatment centers, they can come and find a life of solitude there. Uh, we
Wow.
we think of it as an empowerment place of living where um, we will have counselors on site, we will have staff, we will have cooking and cleaning. Maybe some of it shared between the people as well as professional trained employees. But they would be able to reach me on my Facebook. My name is Joseph Daniel Rocky Schiavello on Facebook, and my Instagram is Joseph Lightray Schiavello. And you can find me there. You can reach out to me. I'm looking. We're just seeking like-minded individuals that want to co-create in a passionate manner, and we want to uplift, and we seek knowledge and freedom and experience, and we look forward to seeing you out there. It's a blast. It truly is. Some of my worst days are some of my favorites because of all the fun I can have in the back end with it all, and especially with my guides and team. We have so much fun at times. It's just hilarious. Like you can find me laughing occasionally, and I'm having some of the best experiences I would call lifelong journeys. They're just intense joy that comes through me from all that are around me. It's pretty passionate.
Yeah, your joy and the power from your heart is infectious. You know, maybe hundreds of miles or thousands away from you, and I can feel it through the internet connection here. So, and again, just so inspiring to hear a story of the phoenix rising from the ashes, and an individual saying, "I have abilities now from my own struggles and trials that need to be shared and need to be given to the world." And so it's a wonderful thing to see you doing that, man.
Thank you, and same to you. It's great that you reciprocate your knowledge very well. The way you retell it and reshare it, it feels really good to be on the receiving end of your heartfelt sense of self. So, thank you so much for that. It feels really good to listen to you speak.
Absolutely. Thank you. And it's a blessing to know that. So I've known a little history with Reon. I've known Reon since he was maybe a year or two into his bachelor's degree over in India. We met
Mm.
online
Yeah.
in a spiritual discussion group a few years ago. And so I've watched this extremely intelligent young man grow his spirit and grow his mind at the same time. And it's a blessing to know that he's finding kindred souls and spirits like yourself in his new environment. And I'm just so excited for him as well to see where he goes with his career. So yeah, keep in touch with this guy, Joe. He's a bright shining star, and he's definitely one to stay close to.
Oh, stop
Sounds
it.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was so insightful, the conversation we had today, and how can we, I was just listening to you guys, like, so you guys have so much knowledge in you, like, how Ken was reciprocating, and you were sharing your personal experience, and it is, I want to say that it's really brave of you to do that, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. And for someone who's into psychology, and hearing someone's radical experience is really very insightful for me, and it's really is a learning opportunity for me as well, and also the people who will watch this as well. And I feel that, Joseph, you are a man with like so many experiences. It's crazy. I think you still have a lot more to talk about, and we'd love to have you in the podcast soon.
Hmm.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here. I'm not saying I'm leaving yet, but yeah, no, it's been great to really get to talk about things that are important. And there's a lot of people out there with struggles, and to feel empowered and to be empowered and to demonstrate through our exceptional talents each of us possess that it's possible to get through the struggles of common occurrences that are going all around the world today.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think,
mean,
Joe,
the
that
yeah,
oh,
go
just real
ahead,
quick,
Ken.
I think for a lot of folks, myself included, like the spiritual journey, however it plays out, is done first on an individual level. And that's very difficult. Like they talk, a lot of people call that the kind of hero's journey. Like you're here to rescue yourself from whatever distortions and imbalances that you have. And so it's good to see, like in our world community now, that a lot of people are transcending um, that need for isolation and that need for individual growth. And now they're starting to build webs and communities and look for ways to reach out and join hands and say, I'm not doing this alone anymore. I'm gonna gain from others and I'm gonna give to others, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna learn and grow and develop these new whatever these new abilities in consciousness. We're gonna do it as a team and not just by ourselves. So that's what's most exciting to me, is to start to make connections and meet people all over the world, just like yourself, that are sort of on the maybe the tail end of their individual hero's journey, and now saying it's time to link elbows and go about this in a communal way.
I really like that. People needing people, and I was a person who struggled with behavioral problems growing up, and I say that
Mm,
lightly. I had challenges within the family dynamics and mom and dad, and things are great now. I have an awesome relationship with both parents, and um, I felt like perhaps that seeing those the challenges between my parents when growing up, um, that's sort of where I rebelled against my my perception of what God was to me at that time, and I
mm,
sort of gave up on life, thinking that how could these things happen? And I'm sure there's been devastating things happen to all people that are feel traumatic and carry that same depth and weight to, you know, who would let such a bad thing happen to me? I felt so innocent and so so abused by it. I felt it just didn't feel right that these bad things were happening to me. So I
yeah.
began to experience cannabis in grade 9. It started with just those things, and then I couldn't manage the addiction very well, so my grades fell off, and I started doing things that were just outrageous in school. Um,
Mm,
and I was kicked out by grade 10. I got kicked out of
wow.
school, and I went to work. So I went through the difficulties of a challenging family dynamic in the beginning, where for me it just felt like something out there. I guess it's the egoic structure or blame feels better than, or maybe it was lack of understanding and maybe lack of wisdom. I didn't possess all the knowledge that I do today from all the people that enlightened me along the way.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah,
dealing with
it's a long and painful process for a lot of folks, I think. And it's interesting that you brought up the characterization of God and the God concept. I think that seems to be a common thread woven through so many of these individual stories. And I I think it's a necessary, like you almost have to go through this divorce. I did the same thing in my early 20s. I was like, I don't want any, whatever this God thing is that I learned as part of the Christian faith, was not the way that I internally understood a loving supreme being to act and to behave. And so there was this period of just complete separation and divorce, which was necessary in order to lay a new foundation and new framework of understanding for what that is. So it sounds kind of like that's what you're talking about also.
frame after frame and knowledge after knowledge. And Abraham teaches a lot through Esther during their live and concert seminars. And
Mm,
he said, we didn't come to experience a feathered nest. We came to experience the contrast and to pick from
mm,
it that which we want to give our attention to, the new desires born from the situations. And some of our greatest masters came from the greatest diversity and the greatest of challenges. And um, I just never had those concepts growing up. They weren't, I just felt like life wronged me, and so did its people.
yeah,
And I was disturbed by it.
yeah. And I think there's certainly a comparison between early in the spiritual process, we tend to be very sort of externally focused with all things. Look what God is doing to me. Look what my parents are doing to me. Look what the boss and the world and the governmental leaders and everybody outside. Look at how I'm being victimized. And then we start to flip that
Script.
lens of creatorship and the script around, and we start to realize, wait a minute, I'm actually a lot more powerful than I realize here, and I'm contributing a lot of the things, and I'm purposely, or maybe subconsciously, I guess, characterizing a lot of the things that I'm calling bad, or I'm calling evil, or I'm calling whatever chaotic. I'm characterizing them that way. And man, when you start to realize, like you talked earlier about the ability to decide what emotions you're going to feel, there's to
Right.
me there's nothing more empowering in creation than that. Like deciding how you're going to feel and be. That's, you can talk about miraculous behavior and healings and all kinds of wonderful creative capabilities, but if you can set the tone of your own inner state, you are a master. Like that's it.
I feel the same way as just because I had so much experience with feeling so down and so out, and then being able to move those feelings through statement by statement, feeling by feeling. I
Mm,
coined the phrase "healing by healing" at
yeah.
De Novo. I was giving back to the men there because there was so much deep sharing, and they would retell the tale with the same emotions, and so I would show them how to process those emotions by sharing in new ways that are lighter and softer and easier with less guilt. Because a lot of people feel guilty for what they've done.
Mm,
They
yeah.
feel maybe abused by their parents. There was I heard all kinds of things that was just opened my mind up to how much everybody else goes through, even though I had dealt with those uh, feelings some time ago, guilt and shame and remorse for the things I've done. Because I was told those behaviors are not who I am.
Mm,
It's just things I've done. And
yeah.
so that was the knowledge is really, I think, a key component into this upliftment and the change of attitudes that brings about recovery from these illnesses and this disease or diseases.
Yeah, it seems to me like I don't know much about like rehab and care for addiction, but the sense I get is that the focus is on the habit, the action, the actual use of the drugs or the alcohol or whatever. But the exciting thing about this conversation is that obviously you'll help people with that given your experiences with it, but you know that the causation for those behaviors lies at a much more subtle level, and that's what your understanding is going to be assisting these folks with, like the potential for change and the potential for improvement. To me, I feel like is so much higher when you have someone that understands how mind and emotion really work to create our experience. They're by your side, assisting you in learning how to recharacterize and recreate for yourself. So I think that's where you're going to benefit folks the most, man, is like teaching them on the mental and emotional side, and then putting an arm around them on the physical and the addiction side, and saying, I'm here for you as long as you need, but I'm also going to be your mentor, and I'm going to teach you how to understand things in a little bit different perspective. So
Absolutely.
it's awesome.
And it's about like empowerment, right? Like people think they are victim to circumstances, like the
Mm,
external circumstances. If something happens, you feel down, you feel depressed, and you get upset easily. And it's about realizing that, you are the master of your emotions, you are the master of your thoughts and feelings. And it's really liberating that way. And a lot of people aren't that, I would say, fortunate to come upon or stumble upon this knowledge. And like, I'm really glad that I came across philosophy and psychology at a very young age. It really helped me, understand how the mind works, how the psyche works, how ego works, right? We have a self-identity and it needs to survive. It will do the kind of manipulation, and it will provoke certain feelings and emotions that will, let's say, hamper our success as well. And it's really about building that self-awareness and going into the self-mastery journey which you are in, and you are far more uh, ahead than most of the people, I feel like. And coming to this, so like understanding this kind of experience, so how would you help the patients that come to your rehabilitation center, which is St. Thomas Foundation of
Foundation of
Love?
love.
Foundation of Love, yeah. So how would you help them? Will you like incorporate uh,
I think I'd
AA
like to
teachings?
I think I'd
Yeah,
like to be a living employee so I can live and grow amongst the many that come to change their life. But I feel like the 12 steps uh, is the process of transformation as well as coming
transformation.
to like step one, just admitting you were powerless
Mm,
and you were powerless and it was difficult to stop and then life has become unmanageable to coming to believe maybe in the group of people that there is some power and there's some hope there's some return to sanity. So I think step by step the 12 steps being integrated into one's life can bring about transformation. um, it's not the only way, but it's a powerful way. And
Hmm.
I think like our friend was saying, Ken, that the mental emotional aspects are very powerful tool. Just learning, being self aware, understanding I feel this way, and I'm responding to life this way, and how to move through the different lenses of feelings. Because when you feel a certain way, about a certain topic, um, you're seeing it from a perspective, and as those emotions shift, those new lenses change, and you come to a state where it's kind of irrelevant. It doesn't mean what it used to because I'm focused on a different feeling from what I originally did. So I would like the St. Thomas Foundation of Love to be uh, about the mental emotional states of being, as well as focused on mental health, different concepts. I'm going to become a counselor through the Academy of Learning. It's it's a fairly simple course from my own understanding, from what people have said. It's not too tough for somebody coming from my walk. Some of this stuff is background knowledge and should be simple to um, partake in this course and to finance it very soon. So looking forward to bring counsel and as well as expertise from the mental health and addiction uh, realm. I think there'll be a very big benefit to the people that are coming there to rehabilitate, to offer self empowerment techniques. Um, yeah, I think the 12 steps will be incorporated there. I like the
yeah,
teachings of Abraham. I really think that Abraham speaks through Esther words of wisdom, and those words have really challenged some of my lower attitudes, or the ones that feel less than good, and have really brought me to better feeling and perspective, especially about the whole death experience. I feel really easy flowing and easy going on that topic when it comes to the non-physical and physical, uh, as they would say. The, so yeah, I believe that there's a variety of different teachings that I would like to see at this foundation of love, and I think the foundation is love for all of us that are having difficulty in life. I mean, when you can take a
yeah,
lighter note in a playful, easier, softer way about it, all of this that's happening and occurring, you don't really react with so much intensity or so much. You give people the benefit of the doubt. You're easier going. You're nicer to be around. You're not accusing people of things. And even if they do make mistakes, you're not holding them accountable in such ways
Hmm.
where you're getting upset yourself. I think the attitude is much lighter and softer. And um, I love Eckhart Tolle. I think he's a powerful teacher. And I
yeah.
know
He's
William,
amazing.
Yeah.
yeah,
Joe, you mentioned Abraham a few times. Like, I'm curious if the experience of hearing voices and vocalization, like, has that resonated as a sort of in the same way as channeling with you at all, or does it not seem like the
it
same as?
does. It feels like channeling. It feels like sometimes like I hear Michael, Archangel Michael, and
Mm,
like he tells the truth. He tells
yeah,
me, and I hear a wide range of different beings talk to me. Like
really.
I hear Michael. I think I hear Raphael. I
Mm,
think he presents in different ways and different intentions. The beings, like Lucifer, um, some of the biblical characters or Christianity, the angels that Doreen Virtue would write about, and I hear Jesus
hmm.
sometimes, and sometimes they play on stories, and sometimes it's fact and reality. And I think I tuned to all of them at different places and spaces at different times. So, uh, yeah, channeling, they come through and they tell me a lot. And so often I think they are with most humans at all times of their life, whether you're aware of them or not.
Hmm.
Um, they're there to assist. They're there to challenge and your ideas of what you believe is right and wrong, or what you believe about others, because it's a world of diversity and it's very extravagant and very eloquent at times. And I think they can bring the best out of me and others, and sometimes the worst of us, just to challenge who we think we are and where we're going and what we're doing. So,
Yeah.
um, my favorite is Birch, and he has a few voices that come out of me, and I've learned a little bit about character and character building. I'll just give you a little piece. Hello. He talks like that. So
Does he? Wow,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, yeah. So I have
Oh,
different voices and different characters. I can do pirates and sometimes different. I channel different beings, and I have
huh.
recordings. I do clips, and so
So
I
yeah, I
think
was going to ask, like, do you ever feel motivated to share or like record and publish any of those at all?
I send some of my favorite people on my journey my recordings because they're very dynamic, they're very intelligent, and they
Hmm.
bring intelligence from no pun intended, but everything is relative and uh, they're so fun and they can make humor out of everything and anything. And
Yeah.
uh, there's been times where the music they can make it like I'm hearing what they want me to hear, they need me to hear at that time, or the consciousness is sort of being altered, and I'm having these all-terrain experiences where it's just so dynamic and so intelligent. It's just woohoo!
Yeah.
Wow, we're
Wild.
having a lot of fun now. So, um,
Yeah.
besides some of the nitty gritty of the challenging times, I sure do have a lot of fun. And when I'm at my very best with them, we play, we laugh, we joke, we sing, we dance, and we flourish, and we let our light shine. So,
Yeah, it sounds like you have a very positive, maybe if it hasn't always been that way, but it sounds like now you have a very positive uh, intent and understanding of all these things, and I think that's amazing. I really do. I I maybe 6 or 7 years ago had never heard of channeling at all, and if anybody brought it up to me, I probably would have thought they were nuts just even talking about the concept. And now at this stage of my life, I find 90% probably of my reading time is chosen in that space, and so it like I understand that there's a settling in period for someone to accept and understand that this is even possible, number one, and then to intellectually accept and integrate and just take this in as a new way of living and learning in your life. It really is a completely new perspective. So um, yeah, anytime you're willing to share, and if Reon can pass on links or any of that kind of thing, I'm totally interested, and it's great to see people sharing this connectivity.
absolutely, sir. And I was just prior to we're September 27th today, and I was released from De Novo on the 6th of September.
Hmm.
And I was thinking of doing podcasts while I was there. I was writing, and thoughts were flowing, and it was a very loving space. Oh wow, the hugs and the the brotherly love that was shared there is so powerful. I don't witness it every day in my life here, and
Hmm.
it's something that I think is. I only came to such an awareness of how strong of a love that was in those four walls while I was there for 35 days, reprogramming and resetting.
Hmm.
That to come into my world with my friends here down near Dufferin and Shepherd, I'm having a blast. This we have fun, but I think the hugging was powerful. Like
Hmm.
I went to treatment today to pick up a pair of sunglasses. The guy came right up to me, hugged me. And he's like,
Oh
"Hey,
wow.
Joe." And the other
Huh.
guy's like, "Hey, Joe, I'm graduating today." And there was just those bonds that I left that were so familiar. And you're
Yeah.
in such a beautiful environment there. De
And
novos.
having directly experienced that and seen what a difference it made for you, like I just know you're going to bring that into the environment that you're creating for folks too. So it's going to have a compounding effect. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, you do have a joyous presence about you, man, and so I know that
Yeah.
you're going to be a healing and a grounding force for the folks that you're setting up shop for, and you're going to be a champion for many. So keep up the
Thank you,
great
sir.
work, brother, and
Much.
congratulations on your graduation as well.
Thank you so much. I feel the best I felt in many years, and just one day at a time, and having a fun time. And I'm blessed to live at this beautiful home. It has 8 bedrooms, and we have many people. I'm surrounded with love every day with Reon, and we have 8 people that live upstairs. They're friends like family, family like friends. We eat together, we share food, we feed each other, we have close bonds, and it's been powerful to experience the diversity in cooking and culture and
Hmm.
sharing and caring. We have some Japanese people, people from India. I'm Italian. My dad's Italian, and my um, we have a just diverse effect going on here, and it's been so good for my mental health to be surrounded with people daily. Uh,
That's amazing.
yeah,
That's huge.
talk, talk about good stuff.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
so
Well,
happy for you, man. Yeah.
you're in a good space, and it's wonderful to feel the resonance of that vibrance too. And as
Thank you.
Rian suggested, yeah, it would be awesome if we could come back and as your center gets up and running, to have you kind of maybe at some future point give us some reflections of new learning and understanding, and share with the world how you're serving. Like that's what it's all about. The more of us that can do that and be proud about it, and not hold our light inside, like talk about it and share it, and let others know what's going on, like that makes a huge difference.
Sure, I think it brings a lot of clarity to misunderstanding and maybe misperception or misguided perception that is there to
Mm,
serve one another from time to time and to challenge their emotional set points, which can be from anger all the way to love and joy and peace and harmony and effectiveness together. So
yeah,
I have a brother named Jeff, and I look forward to. I hope he sees this and then he understands that we are all dynamic and we're all diverse, and not everybody shares the same values and beliefs. And we don't talk presently, but I hope that's something nurtures his spirit, reclaims his
yeah,
vibrancy and his frequency, and that he knows I still love him. There's a lot of people I love, and um, I want to affect in a positive, more powerful mannerism going forward. So I'm delighted to do podcasts with you guys. It's a great time, man.
yeah. It is. This will be fun. Thank you so much for sharing your ayahuasca experience, but really so much more than that, like your life. This is what Rian and I decided we wanted to connect, and to open up the aperture a little bit and start learning and meeting folks that have gone through all sorts of different life experiences. And you're the first out of the gate, so thanks for setting that foundation for us.
He called it a coincidence, and I heard someone say God incidents, and there
Yeah,
is no coincidence. And I think the power of the universe is just propelling this thing forward with positive momentum, and there's no doubt that we're sitting here before each other today with clarity and knowledge and wisdom, and so much more exuberance than I ever thought was going to come to fruition today. So this
yeah,
is
for
great.
sure. This has been a blessing for me too. And Rian, thank you for
Yeah.
setting this up. So we
Yeah.
will maybe go ahead and close out. Rian, did you have any other questions or anything you wanted to ask Joe before
Not
we?
really. I just want to say that it was really grateful for hearing your experience and you coming out so authentically to us.
Yeah,
It's really, a lot of people can't do that, and I really
yeah,
appreciate that.
No problem, my friend.
yeah. Very powerful. You're a super soul, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks. You too.
You're
All right.
Superman.
All right, guys. Well, great talking with you
Carry
both,
on. Thank
and
you, Ken.
yeah, enjoy your evening, and many blessings to you both. And I hope we can
Thank you.
talk soon again.
It'll be fun. Look forward to it, guys. Thank you so much.
All
Yeah.
right, brother.
Take
Okay.
care,
Signing
man.
off here. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
Peace,
All
you.
right.
man.
Peace out.
See you.